Hello everyone, my name's Chris Morrow and welcome to the first ever episode of Job Search TV. I'm very excited to be bringing this to you. Something that's been on my mind probably for the last 12 months or so. I'll give you a little rundown on what it's all about. So I'm going to be committing to doing this regularly, probably, hopefully, fingers crossed. No, I will. I commit to it. I will do it every single week. I'll do an episode every week. Try and keep it as fun as possible. I'll be bringing you, so I suppose, my take on certain topics in the job market, and also I'll hopefully be adding in a lot of your questions. I'll be doing a sort of Q&A in the next couple of episodes, and also interviewing as well some influencers in the market. These might be people who are senior HR people in the industry, sort of influencers on social media, things like that. So I'm going to try and keep it as fun and entertaining as possible. For the first episode, something that's been on my mind for a while and something that people ask me all the time, it's about the hidden jobs market. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that today and get right into it. So if you rewind probably 10 years ago, the sort of classic, if I was a job seeker, the classic thing I would do is I'd put my CV up on a job board, or I'd have a look out for job adverts every day, and I'd send my CV out and hope that I bag an interview that way. Now that type of recruitment, that type of job search strategy nowadays is completely dead, in my opinion. You just can't do that. And I've been using, with the emergence of social media and this, the rise of all things digital. The way that people search for a job nowadays is completely different. There is definitely a hidden jobs market, alive and well. It's real. It's not made up. People ask me about it all the time, and they say, what is it, and how do I get access to it? Hidden jobs market is, I'll give you an example for, a quick example from my world as a recruiter. And if I had a new job in, for example, the first thing I would do is I would hit my network. I wouldn't necessarily advertise the job, on a job advert. Two reasons for that. One, it costs a lot of money actually for each job advert that you post up, and it does take a lot of time to write it up, post it around various job boards and all the rest of it. And also as well, the quality of candidate, unfortunately, I'll probably take a lot of flack for saying this, but in general, the quality of a lot of the candidates who regularly apply to job adverts is much, much lower than that if you proactively approach someone, for instance, via social media, LinkedIn, for example. I've been using LinkedIn for the last 10 years. That's a long time. Getting old, showing my age, but the LinkedIn has changed the way that companies recruit, that recruitment agencies recruit as well. It's all completely changed, and what you need to do now nowadays as a job seeker is make yourself, or allow yourself to be found in the job market. So it's less about proactively kind of applying for roles that you see advertised, and it's more around positioning yourself in the market to be found easily by recruiters, and also by employers themselves. Now, the best way to do that is to first of all have a standout LinkedIn profile. Anyone who doesn't have a LinkedIn profile and is trying to take themselves serious as a job seeker nowadays, I think it's laughable. And also people who put their they put something on LinkedIn that's just, it's just substandard. Ultimately, LinkedIn, it's like a searchable database nowadays. The companies pay a huge amount of money for what's called a LinkedIn recruiter license. Here in Australia, they cost between $7,000 and $8,000 each. And that's per license, so it's a huge amount of money for companies to invest in. But what all that does is it gives you scope to search essentially LinkedIn's database of candidates and send emails to them directly. So it's an extremely useful tool. It's something that is literally so valuable to recruitment agencies, and they'll hit it up every single day. So if you're not on there and you're not making yourself sort of making people find you, or the ability to find you easily, then you're really shooting yourself in the foot. You have to have all of the essential information up there so that people can contact you. I'll give you a little sort of snippet of statistics. Probably for the last few years, I think that as a recruiter, I'd probably say 70% of the placements that I've made as a recruiter, hundreds of thousands of dollars we're talking about, and pounds before I came to Australia, literally that amount of money, 70% of all of the placements that I've made came from LinkedIn. It didn't come from the candidate database for the company that I'm working for. It didn't come from a job advert, people applying to jobs. It came from LinkedIn, from me getting a job and proactively searching out the best talent in the market. In what we call passive candidates. These are candidates who they're not necessarily active in the job market. So the hidden jobs market is absolutely huge. You'll be completely surprised just how few roles there are that are actively advertised out there in the market. So it's essential that you have a really good personal brand. Your social media, things like LinkedIn, or if you have a Twitter account, you need to be constantly building up that personal brand, that personal profile out there in the market, and making yourself, making it easy for others to find you. That is the key. It's not about keeping an eye on job boards and applying for roles when they come up, because you're literally missing out on 60-70% of the jobs out there in the market. So it's absolutely critical that you build up that personal brand and you make yourself contactable very easily. It might be Facebook, it might be LinkedIn or Twitter, or you might have your own website, like I have my own blog. And I think if you really nail that will give you a much better chance of being found, being approached by recruiters, and building relationships with those guys. Because ultimately, there's one aspect to it is being found, one aspect to it, building up that social profile, but you also have to build the relationships with key people. They might be hiring managers in your vertical market. They might be target companies that you want to work with. They might be specialist recruiters who recruit for your type of role. You need to reach out to those people, but you should only do that if your personal profile, your personal brand is good enough. Because if you're starting to reach out to people on LinkedIn and you've got 5 connections, you don't have a profile photo, really sparse information, you're not selling yourself on your profile, why would someone connect with you? What incentive are you giving anyone to connect with you? They might not think you're worthwhile, so you really need to do a good job of selling yourself on social media. It's absolutely essential. So I'm going to round off the first episode by throwing a question back at you. What do you think of the hidden jobs market? What do you think of these videos? Do you think it's a good idea, Job Search TV? I'll be putting out regular videos from here every week. I was going to say hopefully again, but every week I commit to that. Let me know your thoughts. If you're watching this anywhere else but my blog over at chrismorrow.careers, head on over there. That's where all the good stuff is. That's where a lot of the other videos are, all of my articles. I publish articles regularly on websites like Career Realism, and also my own blog. I write on LinkedIn quite often as well, and I publish content regularly on my Facebook page. So hit the like button, hit the dislike button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and best of luck this week.